Well, his name is Billy, and mine's Billy, too, and I am really shocked that Kansas came out and tried to play that kind of game. They did it very well, shot extremely well. I say they can play an up-tempo game, but they can't beat Oklahoma playing this way.
Did you know that no coach with the first name of Billy has ever won the national championship?
No, I didn't know that one. That's a stat
no
from
coach
nowhere.
named Larry has ever won a national championship either. Okay. There is Coach Tubbs. Looks and sounds just a little bit like the most famous Los Angeles Laker fan in the world. And here in attendance tonight, Rick Barry to see his son Scooter. Scooter's mother, Pam Conley, also on hand here tonight watching the action. We come now to the start of the second half. 50 all. Oklahoma, seeded number 1 out of the Southeast. They will start the lineup. Grace with the ball was the only Oklahoma starter to be out of the lineup, and Seeger misses a three-pointer, a rarity, and guess who's got it back? Blaylock for the Sooners.
Stacey King kept it alive.
Grant spins off the turnaround.
We talked about that double low post threat, and it makes it tough because Larry Brown has to keep Manning on one of those two great low post players. That's 3.
Offensive foul, number 3 on Danny Manning to start the second half, with Oklahoma had 52 to 50 at the 1935 mark.
Larry Brown's got to go with Danny Manning now. The last time when he picked up his second, he had to take him out, but it was a good time to take him out because he's getting a little tired anyway, but now he's got to go with it.
Into Grant's hands, and Grant misfires. Geldner off with the rebound. Pritchard, Geldner, Piper, Newton, and Manning on the floor for Kansas.
King matched up man-to-man with Manning down low. King's been able to stay out of foul trouble because Grant can really help out. Piper normally not a guy's going to put it up.
Manning could get the left-handed tap to fall, but Oklahoma mishandled it onto the basket, and it will be Jayhawks' ball.
That's a good job by Piper to recognize that Grant is not playing him, so he might be able to even move in a couple of more steps and take a jumper or two.
Pritchard penetrates, left-handed drive.
Good change off the pass. A good thing to do against a player like Blaylock that's trying to steal everything.
Grant lost it, but wound up in Seeger's hands. King misfires. Geldner battles for the loose ball and comes up for it. Kansas.
You notice when King gets the ball in the low post, how he uses his lower body to push the defender away before he makes his move. Very effective with him.
Now Kansas is Larry Brown, determined coming into this game, taking more time here in the second half. Geldner's 3 rings out. Newton with an offensive rebound off Seeger, but into Grant's hands, and the Sooners come down with the score deadlocked at 52. Bad pass. Piper right there again.
He has played a sensational Final Four in a defensive end.
Here's Newton into Manning's hands. Manning starting slowly at the offensive end, gets this one to fall.
Brent, he's got that half hook down to a science. You can shoot the jumper facing straight on, but he's got the half hook that you just can't block.
Into King.
There he was.
Ties it at 54.
See how he used his lower legs to move Piper away. He never pushes with his arms, but he really uses his lower legs well. Lower part of his legs.
Oklahoma's defense has loosened up a little bit also. Dropping back, retreating into more of a half-court set here. Manning knocks it back to Pritchard. Here's Newton looking for the hot hand. That's 14.
Grant, Oklahoma has really changed up their defense now. Grant's not going to play Piper at all. He's playing a one-man zone down in low. That gives Kansas a chance always to throw the ball back out. Grace, a cold night.
And reach-in foul on Blaylock, a late whistle.
He knew it. Nice piece of officiating there to be in the perfect position to catch him coming around from behind.
56-54. Kansas leading Oklahoma, and Normore back in with Pritchard sitting down on the Kansas bench, and Minor also checks in, and Geldner sits. Newton is absolutely perfect. 6 of 6 for the Jayhawks so far. He gave them this lead, 56-54. 16-54 to go, and Blaylock quickly draws the charging foul. Normore commits his third. Great defensive play here by Blaylock.
See that? He reaches in as if he's going for the steal. Normore has to use his upper body strength to push him away. Blaylock's reputation is growing each and every day. Larry Brown showing some confidence in Minor, bringing him in here this early in the half. Got a pretty good first half.
I thought he played very well, Bill.
Yes. Larry Brown has a great feel for his personnel.
Blaylock not there, and Piper with rebounding position. Gets another one. Lead now to Minor. Short. Made by Manning from behind.
Grant never saw him.
Brings it to the attack and hits the field goal. It's 58-54, a 4-point Kansas lead.
Seeger hasn't been able to get anything off from the three-point range. Milt's doing a good job on him.
Seeger moving the ball to Grayson. They drop into King. Piper is there, and he drew the foul.
It is amazing how much King has progressed. He was dropped academically from the team coming out as a freshman. Then he was moved from a starting player down to a sub last year, although he was outstanding. But this year he has made strides that I've never seen a big man make over the course of one season.
Blaylock's three.
Oklahoma's starting to put up some bad shots. Now, although they take a lot of shots, they want to put it up quickly. They've got the wrong man shooting right now.
Seeger's first personal foul.
You notice the first time I've seen any emotion negative-wise coming out of the Oklahoma players. Grant shaking his head, and I think what he's shaking it at is why are they shooting the ball outside before we get a chance to touch it inside?
It gets tougher and tougher for a favorite the longer it goes, because suddenly that doubt begins to creep in, Billy. You hang close if you're an underdog. So many times this decade we've seen it come to pass.
Kansas changing. They're going to their open set now without having somebody in the post. They love to get backdoor cuts off.
Manning wants it. Has it knocked away. No foul called that time, and Brown is livid.
I thought Blaylock got a hand on Manning for that one. Got away with it.
Here's Grace's three-point shot. He was left alone that time. And that is the 8th three-pointer for Oklahoma. They are 8 of 15. Kansas is 4 of 6 from three-point land here tonight.
Brent, Oklahoma has 3 players that have taken over 200 three-point attempts this year. Kansas only has a little over 200 as a team. Shows you the different philosophy.
Manning missing. Harris complaining that he was pushed underneath. We've got a television timeout at the 14:50 mark. 58-57. Kansas with a 1-point lead.
American business can save millions of dollars every year with the UPS Next Day Air Letter. Unlike other companies which frequently charge up to $14, UPS, because we're so efficient, charges only $8.50. And we guarantee overnight delivery to every address, coast to coast. The UPS Next Day Air Letter, the super saver of overnight letters.
Introducing a high-performance luxury sports coupe made the Mazda way.
If you like the idea of going places in a hurry, check out Mazda's all-new MX-6 GT. A turbocharged, intercooled 12-valve road machine that'll outrun the top of the line Honda Prelude and still run you a cool $2 grand less. Believe me, you don't have to drive it this hard to love it. You just have to drive it.
Isn't it cool? Pink, isn't it cool to drink cherry 7-Up? Can't get enough. Isn't it so cool? Cool and pink makes you feel so right. You think the cherry tonight. Isn't it cool and pink? Cherry 7-Up. Isn't it so cool?
A psychotic killer gives new meaning to terror.
You just stay away from my family!
The only one who dares face him. The Equalizer, Wednesday.
Well, even though they're down by a point here, Oklahoma does have one number heavily in its favor. They are plus 12 in the three-point category, and Dave Seeger his 6th all in the first half. His parents watching tonight. Seeger is a 6'5" senior. Played high school ball in Renton, Washington, and he has the glue. He has helped hold this Oklahoma team together all season long here for Coach Tubbs. Long pass, Grace runs it down.
Good move by Larry Brown to go a little press of his own, just changing the pace.
He also brings Berry in off the bench. He's out there with Pritchard, Manning, playing with 3 fouls. They get another turnover, lead for Newton. Newton saves it, gets it into Manning's hands.
You know, Newton has scored very well in this tournament, but he has made 2 of the best passes we've seen in the tournament. The behind the backer against Duke, and then that one.
Manning taps it back to Pritchard. Bangs the 2 in.
You notice Manning didn't even have to catch that ball, just to flip back outside. The great hands.
Kansas leading by 3, 60-57. Grace trades. And on the drive, drew the personal foul, the first against Pritchard. Watch this great save again that Billy was talking about.
Again, he's going to use his tremendous leaping ability and his court awareness to throw this ball behind his back swiftly enough to a man with a pretty soft pair of hands, Danny Manning.
Jeff Gelner will join Newton and the other Jayhawks on the floor as Pritchard listens to head coach Larry Brown.
You know, Pritchard had 19 in the second half against Oklahoma in one of their games this year. So it's not like Kansas hasn't had success. In the last 8 times these 2 teams have played, Kansas has won 5 of the games.
Coach K. Mixed feelings, I'm sure. Mike Krzyzewski did another great job down at Duke. He has put together a program down there that now challenges Dean Smith in North Carolina almost annually. In fact, he swept the Tar Heels 3 straight this year. Grace hammers in the throw. 60-58, a 2-point Kansas lead. 14-minute mark, second half, NCAA championship game. 2 teams from the Big 8.
Grant getting out a little higher on Piper because he realized Piper's wide open as the passing outlet.
Jump pass is a beauty. And the foul is on Grace. That is his 3rd personal foul. That's 3 team fouls on Oklahoma and 4 against Kansas here at the 13:48 mark.
Might see Mullins come back in the ball game for Grace. That's the only sub there in the first half of any consequence.
Larry Brown said before this game that the one player on the Sooner team he felt they could attack tonight was Ricky Grace. Giving pass to Berry. Missed the shot, tries to tap it in. Newton stays with it. And King coming out is fouled by Berry.
Tremendous interior passing by Kansas, however.
Well, Rick was a marvelous passer himself. I'm sure he appreciates that facet of the game. And at the conclusion of tonight's championship game, we'll select the Chevrolet most valuable player from each team. And Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship check to both Oklahoma and Kansas. Seeger's 3, and that's his first of the second half, but his 7th for the game.
1 away from his record.
Putting Oklahoma ahead again, 61-60. What a fabulous shooting night for Dave Seeger. Here is Mookie Blaylock. It's now a 3-point lead. 63-60, and Kansas must be careful now. Oklahoma can spurt as fast as any team in the country. And a timeout is quickly called by Larry Brown. What Tubbs has been waiting for. Timeout, Kansas.
I don't know where to start telling you about Mazda trucks. They've been rated first in customer satisfaction 2 years in a row. They got the best warranty in the truck business. It covers you bumper to bumper. This sporty new SE5 comes with everything you're looking at, and it's still priced like Toyota and Nissan's base trucks. So I don't know where you start. I guess it doesn't make any difference. You wind up here.
This is the Mazda way.
Mr. Calder? Yes, I know you're a busy man, but they need an answer right away.
Did you call New York yet?
I'm still talking to Chicago. I'll call New York as soon as I get an okay.
What about London?
Well, wait a second. You can't make a decision until you know what New York is doing. All right, I'll have to get back to you. Great, I haven't spoken to New York yet.
And New York will tell you they can't decide until they hear from Chicago.
Ted, you gonna have those numbers soon?
Yeah, I'm calling New York now. I'll call London as soon as I'm done.
The Peterson deal's not gonna wait forever, okay?
I know. I'm working on it.
What's he expect you to do?
I don't know. I can't talk to everyone at once. Would you call London for me?
I can't. I've got somebody waiting in my office.
I'll never get done at this rate.
When you look for champions, look to college basketball on CBS Sports.
Brett, there's a reason why Blaylock is such a great stealer of the ball. First of all, watch his eyes, how they're going to center on this ball. Then watch his great foot movement. And then the last thing is going to be the great arm movement to go for the steal. He's one of the best you'll ever see in college basketball. There's the foot movement. Now he goes in there with the steal with the hands. Perfect balance. Has over 200 this year. First time in the history of collegiate basketball that a backcourt combination both had over 200.
Oklahoma looking for its first national basketball championship. First school in history to play for both the football and the basketball championship the same year. They were beaten by Miami in the Orange Bowl in football. Now they lead Kansas 63-60 with 12 minutes and 40 seconds to go here for the basketball title. And they forced still another turnover. That was Dave Seeger, who's having a great night shooting. 7 of 10 from three-point range. He was 12 of 33 for the tournament, only 36% until tonight. And Seeger guns another one. Misfires that one. Grant gets it back, and Seeger will try it again. Misfires too quickly in a row, and he thought about it. But Gelner was right on top of it.
He may take another one if Pritchett doesn't get out on him. There's that push-off by King. That was a foul.
King getting away with it, and Oklahoma builds a 5-point lead. 65-60 Sooners.
Larry Brown wisely gets Pritchett back in the game because he realized Blaylock was starting to take over.
Kansas needs a field goal, and Piper gives it to him. It's back to 3.
I wonder why Billy Tubbs is allowing Grant to play that far off Piper. He's giving him the wide-open shot and making him available to be the open man and whenever anybody gets in trouble with the ball.
Manning coming out on Grant. They've shifted Blaylock off the fake. With that great quickness, he penetrates. Short. No Kansas player there. It was Grace. Left alone
King
quickly.
is in the lane.
And he just stayed in the lane. They turned it over.
Now, King is a little annoyed with Grace, and rightfully should be. Grace either should have taken the shot or fired it down into that low post.
And Harris comes in. They were expecting him to shoot. That's why he was camped in the lane, so he could turn and attempt to rebound if it was missed. 65-62. Oklahoma leading by 3 here at the Kemper Arena in Kansas City. This is the 10th national championship game played in this city. Kansas has tried for a title 3 times here and lost all 3. Their only championship was won up in Seattle. Manning off a fake with a great play. He can tie it with a free throw.
We've been comparing this young man with Larry Bird, Brent, all the way through the tournament. And you really have to start saying that on at least the collegiate level, is an honest comparison because he has done it all. Watch the pump fake off the jump shot. You've got to play him. Has a little pro walk he got by with there. Then he goes underneath King to get off that beautiful soft shot he has. He does not have Bird's range on the jumper, but he can do a lot of the other things very similar.
20 points here tonight, Billy, and 12 rebounds. Make it 21 and tied at 65. Kansas was down by 5, and now they've battled back to tie it. Inside of 11-10. And now the Kansas defense flying after Oklahoma. Blaylock hits a 3, and he responds to it.
Blaylock's having a sensational game himself. Not only on defense, but hitting those key shots. Moremore's got his hands full with the ball.
Remember Freddie Banks of UNLV last year in the semifinal, lost to Indiana. shades of that three-point shooting here.
Here's what I'm talking about. If you're not going to play Piper, see, it makes no sense for all the other guys to be working hard on defense because Piper will always be open for the outlet pass. Now Grant's coming out and playing a little tighter.
They ship Manning jump hook. He released a little quickly that time, and the ball is out of bounds. Boy, Grant quickly wanted to take that ball. Newton over receiving some tape on his right ankle on the Kansas bench. 10:20 to go. Oklahoma up by 3, and it goes over to Kansas. Cubs unhappy. 15 turnovers by Oklahoma in this game. Gildner sits down. On the floor, Harris, Normore, and Pritchard, along with Piper and Manning. And Oklahoma's pressure defense was much more evident in the first half than it has been here in the second. And they lead it by 3 points, 68-65, closing in on the 10-minute mark of regulation.
Grant has got to go out and play Piper. This allows Kansas to get the tempo right where they want it.
Standing there as the shot clock comes on now.
Now Grant's playing him out there.
Inside to Manning, unstoppable there.
And now Billy Tubbs would say, that's why I have him back in there. I'm trying to double team Manning. So Manning causing a lot of problems even without the ball.
OU leading 68-67. Grace.
He altered the shot. Good defense.
Manning rebounds. Kansas with a chance to go ahead this trip. Oklahoma unable to shake the Jayhawks so far.
And now they've got to go out and play him because this is the game, the tempo that Larry Brown will be very satisfied with. He's done a masterful job controlling tempo. The first half, he pushed it up the floor, and now he's taking it back out.
Oklahoma's hit only one field goal the last 3 minutes. 4 of their starters have played the entire game. Manning throws in a jump hook for the lead. 69-68, 8:45.
And you know Oklahoma has not pumped the ball inside of late. They're going strictly with a jump shot.
Grant missing Kansas ball. Muscling out now is Piper. Here's Pritchard.
They've got 5 on 4. Seeger went down trying to draw the elbow foul. Now Oklahoma has changed defensive assignments. Grant is on Manning. They're playing the open offense, looking for those backdoor cuts.
And away from the ball, it's on Ricky Grace. That's number 4.
Pritchett did exactly the right thing. Grace on a big overplay. Pritchett took him backdoor. Grace knew he was beaten, tried to grab a hold of him.
Gildner into the game for Kansas.
Brent, the other thing that this tempo was doing, it's allowing Danny Manning not to pick up foul trouble, allowing them to stay fresh. So Larry Brown is not being worn down here in the second half as he would have if they kept up the pace of the first half.
He wanted to slow it down in the second half, and Oklahoma is making it easier for him. As Grace leaves with Mullins in for the second time. He's been the only sub used by Coach Tubbs in this game. He was in for 3 minutes in the first half replacing Grace. Now he comes back in. Meanwhile, Larry Brown has shoveled players in and out. Manning with 3 personnel.
And they go to a half-court 1-3-1 trap, which is not effective at all the way Kansas moves that ball.
Harris loses it. Kansas ball. Oklahoma touched it last.
Harris is making Larry Brown nervous. He's got to come back, and he does with Piper.
One of the finest coaches in a college game, Larry Brown, masterfully maneuvering this team. This is a team with 11 losses. If they win this game tonight, that's more losses than any national champion has ever suffered in 1 year. Yet, he has won 14 of his last 17. They have avenged 2 of those losses, Kansas State and Duke. The next to fall would be Oklahoma if they keep it up. Piper 71-68, 7:20.
Brent, the 1-3-1 half-court defense that Oklahoma has is really helping Kansas now. Allows them to play their tempo, and they just move the ball so well against it.
King muscling free. Stays with it. Kansas coming out now. They lose it back to Grant. Seeger for the layup, drew the foul.
Tough break for Piper. He was caught a little bit out of position because he anticipated his team was going to have the ball, and Seeger, who's having a great night for Oklahoma, took advantage of it.
That is 16 fouls on Kansas. The two players they can ill afford to lose are Piper and Manning, each with 3 personals. Newton, after receiving tape on that right ankle, will check back into the game. Minor now will replace Normal.
Brent, you can see on the scoreboard, Oklahoma has only scored 18 points in the second half, and we're under the 7-minute mark. When they don't score, they can't press because they never get you in a situation where you're taking the ball out of bounds. So it's hurt them both ways.
Larry Brown so far tonight has made 33 substitutions. Billy Tubbs has made 3.
Little apprehension on the look of that bench over there at Oklahoma.
Trailing by 2. Seeger's 3-point shooting has truly kept this team in it. Now at the free throw line, he misses his second. Piper rebound. So it's a 2-point game, 71-69, Kansas over Oklahoma. Manning, a sensational ball handler for someone who is 6'10". He could have gone to the NBA last year, but he passed it up. His mother, a school teacher in Lawrence, convinced him to stay and work toward that degree, which he did. And it certainly has not hurt his bargaining power as an upcoming NBA professional.
Not exactly a 4 corners, just an open offense with a lot of backdoor cuts. Larry Brown, of course, was an assistant under Dean Smith.
Played for him for 1 year, also played for Frank McGuire. Traveled. A late call by Higgins, but a good one. Pritchard traveled. That is turnover number 21 by the Jayhawks. This one does not hurt that much, however. It was down at their end. It's the turnovers up here when you're trying to bring it down against the Oklahoma pressure, which was much more prevalent in the first half, that'll truly kill you against the Sooners.
Pritchard was fighting the shot clock on that last one.
Blaylock dumps Grant. It falls. Harvey Grant ties it at 71. 5:50 to go.
3rd team All-American, 1st team All-Big 8, junior college transfer. Grant coming through for him in the clutch. They have not been going inside.
Piper passed it up. Pritchard comes down the baseline and throws in a field goal to put the Jayhawks up again, 73-71.
Brent, I think Kansas is pretty fresh because of the tempo of this game in the second half. They look much fresher than they were in the first half.
A brilliant game plan unfolding perfectly so far.
Well, Oklahoma's allowing Larry Brown to use some clock here. They haven't been out pressuring tough man-to-man like they did in the first half. Is it possible that Oklahoma's getting a little tired?
Jumping out was Blaylock, and he fouled him. That's number 3.
He got the arm. Brett, we've talked about the great conditioning of Oklahoma. This is the first time I've seen them looking up at the clock and checking that time out a little bit. They worked on aerobics, and they are heavily devoted to aerobics. A young lady has a place called Second Wind, which I think is really an interesting name, and that's what Oklahoma has had this entire year.
In a game like this, it can be as much mental pressure as physical.
Well, and particularly when you're holding the ball like this, you really start feeling it as a defender.
Blaylock hounding Pritchard. Get it into Harris's hands.
Manning on the bench now. Have to be very careful here.
Kansas up by the 2. Minor doesn't get the bounce, and King down with the rebound. Oklahoma could go ahead with a 3 or tie it here with a deuce. Seeger's 3. Yeah. The Battle of the glass that time goes out of bounds. Grant tried to keep it in play. We're going to have a TV timeout. And the Oklahoma athletes will welcome it at the 4:26 mark. 73-71 Kansas.
I just bought a set of Michelins.
You could have saved some money on another brand.
Why take chances when a Michelin's only a little more?
A tire's a tire.
My last set of Michelin's got 60,000 miles.
Tell me the truth. Didn't you buy them just for the name?
Yeah. The name is Jackie.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
This report details new opportunities in several markets here.
And we'll be arriving in
20 minutes.
20 minutes? Yeah, at 200 kilometers, 125 miles per hour for you. I never would have known. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Too bad.
And now, some of the best beer bellies in America. These beer bellies are brought to you by Pabst Light, the light beer with a lot of taste, but not a lot of calories.
Kansas seeking its second national championship tonight. 1952 in Seattle, they beat St. John's 80-63. That man, Clyde Lovellette, scored 33 points and yanked down 17 rebounds for the Jayhawks. Tonight, Danny Manning is trying to equal that performance. He has scored 25 points here.
And Fred, there's B.H. Bourne, who was also the MVP in a Final Four for Kansas. They've had 3 MVPs. Will Chamberlain was also the MVP in '57. 2 of those 3 were on losing teams.
Including Chamberlain in perhaps the greatest championship game ever played, the triple overtime, won by North Carolina over Kansas. That game played right here in Kansas City.
And here's
1957. Now Oklahoma returns to the full court pressure. Grace is back on the floor. Manning bringing it up. He is returned for the stretch with 3 fouls. Kansas leading it 73-71.
Laylock looking for that steal.
Manning off the dribble.
Left-handed.
It's a 4-point Jayhawk lead, 75-71. Grace. Misfiring. Manning rebounds.
That was a monster rebound inside, and Oklahoma has forgotten all about King and Grant inside. They're starting to crack a little bit in their shot selection. Handles the ball just like a guard when he's at the top of the key.
Normore, Piper, Manning, Newton, and Minor on the floor for the Jayhawks. Manning did not want it. He shook him off on the inside.
He's looking at the clock on the other end. He knows it's not down to 10 seconds yet.
It's inside.
Now it is. Now he wants the ball. Now he wants it.
Normore penetrates, drops it off to Piper, and the buzzer hits the field goal.
They used the entire 45.
77-71. Inside of 3 minutes. Knocked away by Manning and out of bounds. Oklahoma ball.
You can't say enough about the game that young man has played tonight. Player of the year.
Shaking his fist now to his teammates. The one thing that I love about Danny Manning, everybody plays better around him. As again, late in the game, Gildner will check in now, and Normore leaves.
Kansas fans can thank his mom. She's the one that said stay in school.
Race cut off at the baseline.
They just can't go inside. Here it is.
Stacey King. Not there. Kansas ball. Pritchard thought about going for the home run against Newton. and then he wisely elected not to gamble. They bring the clock down again, leading by those 6 points. 2:20 to go, 77-71, Kansas. They have hit 6 of their last 7 shots from the floor.
Pritchett and Manning, the big men, being the step-out fellas. Manning wanted to take it himself.
This is that time, though. It was too hard off the glass. And Blaylock into the hands of Grace, who misfired, but the foul underneath is on Newton, and that is his first personal foul of the game.
Brett, the Oklahoma players looking up at that clock. To me, that's always the telltale sign when players start to worry. Instead of concentrating on the game, they look up at score and time.
Normore quickly returns, and Geldner is out. And now sitting down for the first time in this game is Stacey King.
I think the reason for that, Billy Tubbs going to go for a defensive puck, try to get some more defensive pressure on either Manning or Piper when they step out in that open offense.
Oklahoma has scored but 6 points in the last 10 minutes of this game. And as a result, they have fallen behind by 6. Billy's wife, Pat, anxious here in the stands in Kansas City. Billy has some fabulous three-point shooters. You've seen Seeger in action tonight. Blaylock can put it up. Still has 2 minutes to play. Grace makes it a 77-73 game. Manning cross court to Newton now.
Great careful vision by Danny Manning. He was looking down the right-hand side of the court and threw it cross court to the left.
On the drive to the glass, he pushed up a second miss. 2 times in a row now, Manning has missed critical shots here for the Jayhawks. Blaylock's 3. Up over the top. Kansas ball, so it didn't hurt him that time. They'll get the ball back.
Brent, I think Larry Brown, had he not gotten that good bounce, would have gone to a timeout. Now, Billy Tubbs helps him here. When Tubbs takes a timeout, this gives Brown just what he wants because he wants to talk that club about using the clock.
Hey, we talk about playground legends. You gotta bring up a guy named Lamar Mundane. I seen him just rain jump shots on people. 4, 5, 6 shots in a row. People just started calling me Money. Because when he shot, it was money in the bank. He come down and shoot a 15-footer, everybody on the side be hollering, layup. Slam dunks are tough. But when a 35-footer come raining out the sky, it'll wire you up.
When the new legends are made, they'll be wearing Reeboks.
Scott Emerson once had a heart attack. Today, he had a son. Studies show Bayer aspirin helps reduce the risk of heart attacks. Ask your doctor about a regimen of exercise, the right foods, and Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
With the designed-in sound of a Delco Electronics music system, now the best seat in the house is in your GM car. Delco Electronics. It's who we are.
If you like to drive, really like to drive, this is what your next car should be. This is the all-new Pontiac Grand Prix.
Get on your Pontiac and ride! Pontiac ride!
This is the 1988 Motor Trend Car of the Year. And that ought to be you driving.
Get on your Pontiac! We feel excitement!
Well, we had 100 points in the first half and 50 this half. And timeouts. Both coaches with plenty here for the stretch. 1:39 to go, and the possession arrow in favor of Kansas. At the top of this game, we reminded one and all of the upsets of the 80s.
Well, Brent, I'm going to throw a bouquet to you. You're the guy that always smells this kind of stuff. I never have a feel for it. NC State, Villanova. Maybe there's something about the 80s, that this is the Twilight Zone decade.
Billy, I think this one was easy. Home court, great player like Manning, and a great coach like Larry Brown. I think you're always in a game with that combination. Normore is fouled by Mullins. Oklahoma will start to put them on the line. They'll be shooting 1-and-1, and they've elected to start off with Normore. at the 1:30 mark. Kansas up by 4. Checking the free throws. Kansas has shot but 4 tonight. They have hit 3 of them. Oklahoma has shot 13, and they have scored 9 as King returns.
Danny Manning's been able to stay out of foul trouble in this second half, and the possession, and you can see some players looking down as they do. And there was Archie Marshall, story in his own right.
However, this is a very talented Oklahoma team, and it would be extremely premature to write them off at this moment. Blaylock. How do you see? Loose. Kansas ball. A big grab off a loose ball.
Brett, was Seeger in the game for the 3, and still Grant and King, who have not been utilized at all here in the second half by Oklahoma offensively. It's amazing to me that Blaylock and Grace are trying to do so much themselves. If you're going to penetrate, pop the ball back out to Seeger or look to get the ball to King inside. That's what carried you here. The weakest free throw shooter in that starting lineup, Newton, ready to go on that line.
Wish upon a star, Ryan. Your team is only 113 away.
Brent, that armband on Newton's arm is for Frank Williams, his high school coach out of Washington, D.C. Coolidge.
The rest of the armbands are worn in the memory of Roy Edwards, an alum who was very close to the program down at Kansas. 1:11 now, 78-73. It's a 5-point lead. Oklahoma has hit only 1 of its last 10 shots from the field.
Manning doing it all.
Grace glides and quickly calls a timeout at the 58-second mark. A 3-point lead after that driving layup, 78-75. We'll be right back.
At Pizza Hut, we make it fast.
We have time for lunch?
We make it hot.
It's gonna be hot, right?
And we make it great.
Great.
Making it fast, making it hot, giving it everything we've got. Making your style, give me a smile. Slicing and spicing, cheese and pleasing.
At Pizza Hut, we go all out to make it fast, hot, and delicious.
Making it happen, making your day. Pizza Hut, making it great.
The only way to travel is Cadillac style. Some people want more, not just a little bit. This is your life, and you're the only one who's living it. Let's go, let's live, let's love every mile. The only way to travel is Cadillac style.
Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style. Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style.
AT&T, I don't believe it.
Their PCs match the specs better.
Better than who?
IBM, Compaq, you name it. I can hang 32 terminals off just one PC. You're still blowing your budget on standalone.
Listen, you sound like a commercial.
You listen, these are facts.
Oklahoma needs the basketball, and that means keep an eye on Mookie Blaylock, number 10. He has 6 steals for the Sooners here tonight. 143, the most ever in a season already for the Sooners. Coming in here, and he is the man who pesters, pounds the ball, and after that driving layup, they'll set the full court pressure that has been so successful for Coach Stubbs and the Sooners here this year.
And here's the press that doesn't have somebody guarding the man taking the ball out of bounds.
And Blaylock has got it. He's got it from Pritchard. Grace's 3. Misfires. Manning goes after it. There's a foul on Grant underneath.
Brent, you pointed out the 143 steals. Watch the great anticipation, foot quickness. Just an outstanding player. Over 200 assists and 100 steals by Grace and Blaylock on the year. The first time in the history of college basketball This young man's had an outstanding game, but his running mate has not had a real good ball game.
King into the lineup. Give them size underneath the basket there to rebound off a possible missed free throw. Danny Manning 1 point away now from moving ahead of the great Oscar Robertson and becoming the second all-time leading scorer in NCAA tournament play. Couldn't do it with that free throw. And Danny Manning has missed some important shots down the stretch. Kansas 78, Oklahoma 75. Blaylock in behind Manning, who had his back turned to him, and Mookie Blaylock has pulled Oklahoma to within one, 78-77. A timeout by the Sooners with 40 seconds to go. They will again set up that pressure defense.
Anytime they can score, obviously, it gives them big advantage. And Brent, when you look up there in the second half, they've only scored 27 points. We had the all-time record there at halftime when they both had 50. And again, when you don't have the points, you can't get the press.
This has been a great tournament here in Kansas City, and these fans here are really enjoying it. To go now. Kansas leading Oklahoma 78-77. Kansas ball. Scooter Berry out there with Newton, Pritchard, and Manning. Piper will take the ball out of bounds. Coming out now for Coach Tubbs and the Sooners. Grace, Blaylock, Seeger, Mullins, and Grant.
But again, they employ the press without guarding the man taking the ball out. Grace is the safety man.
They double up on Pritchard into Berry's hands. They want him out there to shoot a free throw. Quickly over to Pritchard. They move it to Manning. The shot clock is off.
And the foul is Newton if you get a chance.
They're keeping the ball out of his hands so far. Here's Berry. They will elect to put Scooter Berry on the free throw line. At the 16-second mark, 78-77. It'll be the son of one of the greatest free throw shooters of all time moving up to the free throw line, Scooter Berry.
He's got the good stroke, of course, is the guy maybe responsible for putting Kansas in the Final Four with the great game he had against Kansas State.
In the tournament, Scooter Berry is 14 of 18 from the free throw line. He won't use the same style, and nobody right now is more nervous than his father. A 2-point lead.
That was a good-looking stroke, Grant. A lot of confidence.
Short on that one, but Manning has it knocked away, and there's a foul called on Stacey King. Danny Manning comes to the free throw line. A championship could be in hand for this family.
And Brett, the key here is they're up 2. He goes to the line. If he hits 2, that takes away the opportunity for that three-point shot to tie things up. So it would put Oklahoma in a situation where they need 2 possessions.
the son of Ed Manning, is now the second greatest scorer in the history of NCAA tournament play. He has put the Jayhawks up by 3. 14 seconds to go. Timeout. Kansas. It's 81-77. 14 seconds to go when you come back.
Okay. Alex will now do his famous dog impersonations. Grab a strobe light and relax. Ready, Alex? All right, who's this?
Rin Tin Tin!
That great.
Look at this. Look at this. Prim, my 3 sons.
Right. This is my favorite.
Benji. Oh, I don't know how he does it. It's amazing.
Stro Light, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
No, here he comes. Here he comes. Who's that supposed to be?
Beats me.
Got a guy here wants to sell us a desktop publishing system?
We already have one.
Well, he says his is easy to learn.
Not easier than ours.
Claims that he can rig it to all our computers.
We didn't have to rig ours.
Says his makes great documents, fast.
You mean like ours?
He says his system makes sense for business. Not for ours.
Personal publishing on the IBM Personal System 2.
It's been said that form should always follow function. But on rare occasions, the function is already so highly advanced that the form is free to pursue absolute beauty. Introducing the Mercedes-Benz 300 CE Coupe.
There is no place like home, and indeed that could be the case tonight for the Jayhawks of Kansas. With 14 seconds to go, Oklahoma must hurry, and they have not been too proficient from three-point land this half. They go for the 2 right away on a driving layup by Grace, and quickly Tubbs goes to the timeout with 7 seconds.
That's his last timeout, Brent. 7 seconds to go. But with that timeout, of course, he stops the clock. Ricky Grace goes the full length here, and he's very good at this. He doesn't mind going in the trees, good hesitation dribble. Then he makes the spin, goes under Danny Manning. Surprised Danny came out that high because he played kind of in Grace's hand. But that's the last timeout Billy Tubbs has.
The evening began with the Jayhawks coming onto the floor, greeted by this capacity crowd here in the Kemper Arena, with Archie Marshall, their spiritual leader, in uniform. He was in uniform when they played their last home game. He, of course, is the young man who in the tournament 2 years ago exploded a knee against Duke down in the first half. You can see the knee brace there on the left knee. That was the other knee, which he blew out against St. John's back in December in the Holiday Festival. Ever since then, Danny Manning has worn the number 23 on his wristband.
Brent, if you're Billy Tubbs now with 7 seconds to go and no timeouts, what you have to do is go for the steal on the inbounds pass and then immediately foul, because you've got to get the ball down the length of the floor. You cannot afford to let Kansas bring the ball back up over half court. Now, if you're Larry Brown, one of the things you got to be thinking about, you know they're pushing the ball up court trying to make the steal. Maybe go long and seal it with the long pass going for the layup.
And they have kept the ball out of Newton's hands, and I'm sure that Larry Brown reminds them of that as they leave the huddle. With 7 seconds to go now, Danny Manning wants to huddle the Jayhawks here.
One of the great things about Manning is that he's a tremendous receiver of these kind of passes. Even though Grant's on him, sometimes you can throw over a head. Now look for somebody to break long.
And quickly he calls a timeout as everyone was sealed up. Didn't want a violation and give Oklahoma an opportunity. Larry Brown still with a timeout to go here in 7 seconds and leading 81 to 79. We go back to the start of this game, and it was a surprise tactic by Brown and the Jayhawks. They came out and ran right at the Oklahoma pressure defense. They took the Sooners at their own game, and we were tied at halftime, 50-all. The most points ever scored in the half of an NCAA championship game.
We know, Brent, the University of Kansas just has so much tradition. More people with Kansas heritage in the Hall of Fame with 13. You've got Larry Brown, the 4th Kansas coach to take a team to the Final Four, just steeped with great basketball tradition.
So many similarities in this evening here in Kansas City to that one in Lexington a few years ago. Villanova in 85 upsetting Georgetown. Look at the record coming in. Kansas with 1 more loss. Field goal percentage, free throw percentage. And then tonight, Kansas has done what Villanova and Raleigh Massimino did that night. They shot well from the field. They knocked down when they were open. They hit their field goals. They've hit 64% in this game here tonight against the talented Sooners of Oklahoma. 81-79, Kansas leading by 2.
And they had that shooting percentage up in the high 70s through most of the first half. Billy Duff's realizing he has no more timeouts, so anything he's going to say to this club, he's got to say in this huddle. Looking for that breath.
They get it to Manning's hands. Danny Manning now will come up to the free throw line with 5 seconds remaining.
Just 2 off the clock. Good strategy by Billy Tubbs. All he can hope for now is that Manning does not convert it, 2 of them, because that would be the ball game for the simple reason if Oklahoma even took it down and scored, Brent, Kansas would not have to take the ball in bounds because it's under 5 seconds and Tubbs has no more timeout. So this whole game rides on these free throws.
It is only appropriate that for the Kansas Jayhawks, it comes down to Danny Manning at the free throw line. His line on the night. He's 3 of 5 from the free throw line. Now for an NCAA championship, and no one will be prouder than his papa.
Well, Brett, if he makes this free throw, this game is over, because even if Oklahoma scores, Kansas doesn't have to take it out of bounds.
Now Danny Manning shooting to give the Kansas Jayhawks their 2nd national championship. Kansas has won it.
It's mathematically impossible now, as long as Kansas does not foul, for Oklahoma to win the game. Larry Brown can't believe it.
The Kansas Jayhawks have beaten all odds. They have lost more games than any champion in the history of the NCAA. And bedlam reigns here in Kansas City as the Jayhawks beat the Sooners 83-79. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why they play these games. if we decided them on paper, there'd be no use showing up in the arena and enjoying emotions such as Larry Brown did, or the heartbreak felt by Billy Tubbs and the Sooners of Oklahoma, who came so close to winning their first ever national championship. They were matched against simply a marvelous talent, Danny Manning. There have been doubters throughout the last 2 years of his career. Let there be no more doubters. Danny Manning has turned in one of the greatest years ever in the history of college basketball. We're going to come back. We'll hear from Danny Manning and the architect, Larry Brown, when we continue in a moment.
Make red. Be red. Make blue. Be blue. Make colors as bright as life. Make colors feel like colors feel.
The brilliant colors of life. Trust RCA to bring them to you on Precision Performance Big Screen TV. Only from RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
Honey, game's gonna start soon.
I think I'll give the lawn a quick cut.
Gonna go black.
When you're long on grass and short on time, you need a mower with a Briggs & Stratton engine.
Dad, the pregame show's on!
It'll start quickly and work hard till the job's done.
Sure hope he makes it. Yes, there he is.
Briggs & Stratton, the power in power equipment.
The celebration continues in Kemper Arena. Simply put, it was another championship game classic. And the Chevy MVPs from this contest, who else but, of course, Danny Manning for the Kansas Jayhawks. 31 points, 18 rebounds for Manning, Dave Seeger for Oklahoma. Let's go back down courtside. Brent Musburger and Billy Packer.
The celebration continuing here for Larry Brown, Danny Manning, and everybody else on this Kansas team. Danny, congratulations. This was a fabulous performance.
Thanks a lot. This is great to be able to finish our collegiate career national champs and playing in front of our home fans in Kansas City. It's great.
Larry, we talked seeing all the adversity that's come against this club. And right on this very floor about 3 weeks ago, you guys went home from the Big 8 tournament. Now you're back with the national championship. How in the world does something like that happen over a period of 3 weeks?
I think it happens because we got great seniors. And, you know, we have a super player. And I can't even express myself. I don't even know how to say it. It's like, I don't know how to say national champs, but I'm going to learn
That's what you are, Larry. One other question I want to ask you, Brent. In regard to the pace of this game in the first half, 50-point all-time record. I personally didn't believe you could contain them that way and sustain that type of pace. The second half, you changed it around completely. How did you make the change?
Well, I tried to get the kids to just think if we could get into the last 5 minutes with it close. They haven't been there in a long time, and I couldn't slow them down, and finally the kids did it.
Billy, here I am with the inspirational leader of this team, Archie Marshall. Archie, in uniform tonight, how did you feel? What were you going through over there on the sideline?
A lot of excitement. I was excited throughout the whole game, and we're national champions right now, and it's something that I always wanted as a person, and our whole team is something we always wanted together, and that was one of our main goals from the beginning, and we got it.
All right, congratulations again. A marvelous job by the Kansas Jayhawks, and we'll continue from Kansas City in just a moment.
I don't know whether to begin without him. I'm sure he's just sitting in that awful traffic.
Steve, in his new 190 class Mercedes, sitting in traffic. Oh, sure. He's sitting there in line, drumming his fingers on the steering wheel, tapping his foot, fiddling with the radio stations, staring at the taillights of the car in front of him. Marie, I've commuted with Steve.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, it means... That's what it means.
Do you want to take a few seconds to make your car look better? Okay, when you finish washing it, do the tires with Armor All Protectant. You can do a tire in about 15 seconds. Go on, try it. Oh, now, if the tires look new, is that okay?
In North Carolina, Honda lawnmowers are assembled from the wheels up. Then the final critical step, the Clara Johnson test.
If Clara pulls and it starts, it's a Honda.
Ship it.
The Florida Keys stretch like an old clothesline for 130 miles. Down here, the locals are called conks. Their ways are old-fashioned, and so are their values. And in a way, ours are too. There are over 4 million miles of roads in Alamo territory, all across America. And whenever you rent a car from Alamo, the rates are low, and all those miles are free, including 130 miles, called the Florida Keys.
The Kansas Jayhawks have won the national championship. This is a team that rarely loses at home. In fact, at Allen Fieldhouse, they had a winning streak of 55 straight snapped this season. 3 home losses this year to Kansas State, Duke, and Oklahoma. And to win the national championship, the Jayhawks beat Kansas State to advance to the Final Four, Duke to advance to the championship game, and Oklahoma to win it all tonight. Let's go down to James Brown now.
All right, Jim, I'm with the losing coach, Billy Tubbs, and obviously, Coach, a very tough situation for you. My question is, this is the 3rd time you met these guys. Do you think familiarity served them well in tonight's game?
No, I don't really think familiarity was a factor at all. They just played an outstanding game, probably the best game they've played all year.
Coach, were you surprised in the first half that they came out trying to get into a foot race with you?
Nope, not at all.
The second half, again, decidedly different tempo. They slowed it up. What were you trying to accomplish in the second half then?
We were just trying to accomplish getting a lead and holding on to it and making them come to us.
Coach, again, a great year on your part. Congratulations getting this far.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Coach Billy Tubbs. Let's go back upstairs to Jim Nance.
And the Jayhawks continue to tear down the net. They have won the national championship. We'll come back with some final thoughts on CBS in just a moment.
The game Monopoly is back at McDonald's, bigger and better than ever.
This year, there's over $50 million in prizes.
Hey, a Coca-Cola, McDLT.
Win instantly, or collect the right game pieces and win loads of cash, or maybe a new house.
Oh, the house!
Or hundreds of Sears shopping sprees. Whoa! Play Monopoly at McDonald's.
This time, it's not just big, it's huge.
Hey, you talk about playground legends. You gotta bring up a guy named Lamar Mundane. I seen him just rain jump shots on people. 4, 5, 6 shots in a row. People just started calling me Money. Because when he shot, it was money in the bank. He come down and shoot a 15-footer, everybody on the side be hollering, layup. Slam dunks are tough. But when a 35-footer come raining out the sky, it'll wire you up.
When the new legends are made, they'll be wearing Reeboks.
AT&T, I don't believe it. Their PCs match the specs better. Better than who? IBM, Compaq, you name it. I can hang 32 terminals off just one PC. You're still blowing your budget on standalone. Listen, you sound like a commercial. You listen, these are facts.
If there's one thing for certain, America loves an underdog. And tonight in America's heartland, the Kansas Jayhawks pulled it off behind a brilliant performance by Danny Manning. And now as we leave Kansas City and look ahead to next year in Seattle, here's a tribute to the people who have brought you the sights and sounds of this 50th NCAA tournament, followed by our salute to the players and coaches who have given us more than one shining moment.
lived it. There you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star, and all the years no one knows just how hard you worked, but now it shows. One shining moment you reached deep inside. One shining moment you knew you were alive. Feel the beat of your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest, it's more than a race. When it's done, win or lose, you always did your best, 'cause inside you knew that one shining moment you reach for the sky. One shining moment you knew. One shining moment you were willing to try.